Here we are, Carl, George's house. I can't wait to go inside. This area, what would it have been like for George growing up in this place?
It was the end of the Second World War, wasn't it? Late 40s, early 50s. So it would have been like, the Troubles hadn't started yet in Northern Ireland. They started in 68. So it would have been kind of like any other housing estate, I imagine, in Britain, and like just rough, tough, hard growing up, lots of poverty. But I'm sure you had plenty of good fun here as well. There's the green here just behind you, where that's apparently where he was spotted and picked up to sign for United.
This is where his genius was born, playing in his front garden, the back garden over there. I can't wait to go inside.
I can't either, come on.
Mate, it just feels like I'm around my nan's, doesn't it?
It smells like my granny's house.
Yeah. I mean, this would have been like luxury, modern, when it was built for George.
It's a nice gaff, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is really nostalgic.
So this is where he would have been with 6 brothers and sisters, I think, in this house.
How do you live here? I imagine this was the old dad, Dickie. I bet that must have been his chair.
Well, he had 6 kids, so he needs the best chair in the house, that's for sure. Like, this is so weird, being back in time. When would you first have heard of George?
When I started playing football, everybody talked about George Best, and like we're proud of George Best. We've got so many great sports people in Northern Ireland. The motorbike racers, some footballers, golfers, rugby players, boxers, but we're all kind of vying for that second spot. Best is the top dog, like he's the king of sports people in Belfast. He was a hard man, like he had the silky skills, but he was clearly a tough man because he was getting the lumps kicked out of him every single match.
Mate, it just from humble beginnings to, like Pele says, you writes on the wall. He told George he was the best player he'd ever seen. Now, you don't get higher praise. You know, when a boxer will praise you, or when a footballer praise, it's better than anyone else because he's coming from your peers. So for Pele to say that about George Best, unbelievable.
Of course.
We've got to sign a visitor's book, Carl. Look, people coming from all over the world.
It's difficult to figure out what you're going to write here, but I wrote, what an honour to be in the house that the great George Best grew up. Maradona, good. Pele, better. George Best. Green White Army. Signed it.
That's brilliant.
Class.
That is fantastic. Carl, there's murals of the man up everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, he meant so much. Where are we and why is this one special?
This is Sandy Row.
Right.
So George wasn't from here, but just a stone's throw this direction is Windsor Park, where he obviously played for Northern Ireland.
Do you feel responsibility as a sportsman, you know, with the history of the politics in this country in terms of what you mean to the people? Do you feel that weight when you was fighting?
I didn't really feel it, but I understood it, and I think it was important to remain neutral and be down the middle, because it's getting better, this place, but it's still a very divisive society. And what I never done was kind of nail my colours to the mast, a bit like Best. And I suppose that's probably one of the reasons why I was loved by so many. Leaving politics out of it, sport is one of the things that brings both communities from this place together. You don't need much to be a great. You know, you saw where he grew up in a real humble house. He's one of the greatest players that ever lived.
George ain't the only sportsman with murals around here. We're going to go and see your one, Carl. Should we go?
Let's go.
Carl, I know you live around the corner. This is the gym where you honed your skills. Talk to us about the Shamrock and what sports means to the people around here, because it's an interesting story.
So boxing as an amateur is an all-Ireland sport, like the rugby is. So I represented Ireland, and I'd won here a featherweight title against the odds, against an Olympian called David Oliver Joyce in 2009. I was the only senior champion from Midland ABC. And they decided to put me on a mural, which is very nice.
Yeah, no, it must be great, mate. There's no murals of me in London, I'll tell you that.
And murals are a big part of society in Northern Ireland, as you know, and they can be political and stuff, but there's a few sports murals as well, and as a sportsman, you always want the recognition of your people and the places where you're from, and it's something that I'm very, very proud of.
I mean, George Best, you love your sportsmen here in Northern Ireland, don't you? You love your heroes, and he was one of them.
Yeah, of course, he's everybody's hero, and he's a hero to both sections of the community here, to every sports fan, and not even sports fans, that any Tom, Dick and Harry, George Best is a hero.
Right, we're going to go to Glentoran Football Club, the local club where it's alleged that they turned down George Best for being too skinny. For some reason or another, someone didn't fancy him.
George Best wasn't good enough for the Irish League. unbelievable.
Well, it's a proper old school stadium, Carl.
Yeah, you can still stand in the Irish League. Obviously there's smaller, much smaller crowds in the Premier League, but big standing sections here, and the atmosphere is good as well for some big games.
So George, although he was turned down as a kid, he did actually play here once in the 100th anniversary, so that shows he doesn't hold a grudge. For the game to come and watch him here, I bet there wasn't you couldn't get a ticket, could you?
I don't imagine. I think he played here before I was born, but I seen him play. I must have been about 10. He played another testimonial at Windsor Park.
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to see George Best play football.
Mate, there are not many of your age.
Can't be too many, no.
Yeah. When you go into any black cab in London, and I always get the conversation starts because, you know, they're chatty and they like their football. And I ask them who's the best footballer they've ever had in the taxi, and they always say George.
Yeah.
George, we took him from there to there because I don't think he drove later on in his life. So, and he lived in Chelsea, so they always had nice things to say about him.
Yeah.
So he must have been a good tipper, usually for black cabs in London.
It's a big regret of mine. I've met most sporting heroes and icons from Northern Ireland, but I never met Best, and I would have loved to have met him at some point, you know.
So, I mean, how much did he do for sport in Belfast?
But you go anywhere in the world and you talk about Belfast, and there'll probably be two things that people know about Belfast, and one is the Troubles, and the other one is George Best. He done so much to put this place on the map.
Carl, here we are at the Stormont. I mean, what an impressive building, mate. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's lovely. This is Parliament Buildings. These streets were absolutely lined with people. It's a mile from start to finish to the front door, and this street was just rammed, filled with people, both sides, yeah.
For George's funeral.
For George's funeral, yeah. The hearse actually went up here, and the service was actually in Parliament Buildings.
Did it feel like a celebration of his life?
Yeah, I think so. We knew we'd lost someone great. You know, a great sportsman and a great person. It was obviously very, very sad for a lot of people, but there was people applauding as the hearse went up the street. It wasn't. Yeah. It was a sad place, but people were respecting the great man that George Best was.
Carl, thanks so much for the tour, mate. It's been brilliant, and what a beautiful setting to end it. Final words. What did George mean to the people of Belfast?
It's just, this is a city that loves its sporting heroes, and it just showed you know, we've seen on this tour what can happen as a guy, normal guy from humble beginnings, went on to achieve so much success and become a global superstar, the fifth Beatle, some people called him. Yeah. And he came from here, and the people loved him, and the day that he could put to rest, the people came out in their droves to celebrate a great man's life.
Like I said, it's a great example for any Irishman out there who wants to go and do great things. You've one of your own, he's done it, and he's got to the absolute top of the game. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for today, mate.
No problem, mate, thank you.